So when the total number of cases is low, that's what happened just before 20th September. Cases were quite low. As you can see here, our patients, the majority of the asymptomatic, you've got a mild disease and you have a severe disease. And then when the public health system kicks in and you realize that they are able to diagnose most of these patients, this fraction is the diagnosed fraction. This fraction is the diagnosed fraction. They diagnose most of them, and they get isolated or admitted to hospitals. There will still be a small fraction of undiagnosed infections, but they're majority asymptomatic, and that is an undiagnosed fraction. There will still always be some of them, but this number is very small when total cases are low. But what happens when there's an increase in daily cases, more than what our public health system can handle? Every patient requires a detailed history taking to find out what were you doing the last 14 days, and each one of them have to be identified and then told that they are a close contact and offered COVID testing. So when that system gets overwhelmed, what happens? So this is what happens. So when the healthcare system, public health system gets overwhelmed, what we realize is that majority of the patients are being diagnosed because they're symptomatic. The asymptomatic group does not get diagnosed that well. And so when you look at the undiagnosed fraction and diagnosed fraction now, the difference is very, very different now. Suddenly now, a bigger proportion of patients are
okay, Suresh, 2 more minutes.
Yes. Okay, and milder patients are actually less represented. Asymptomatic is not so represented, and so that's what causes the burden in disease. As you can see here, this is seen in this particular graph where our ICU rates, amount of patients that require ICU beds are exponentially going up compared to what you see in normal times. And as the same thing, as you can see, these are what we have found in my own hospital. The proportion of patients who require category 4 and category 5 diseases requiring oxygen or ventilation has exponentially gone up. It's 15% required now. So what it means in real terms is every week now I have to open a new ward, a 28-bedded ward, to cater to these oxygenated patients. And so we started with 1 ward, now we have 8 wards, and we are now moving on to every week we'll have to open up 1 new ward can manage for category 4 and category 5 patients. And what has that resulted in? That has resulted in these are beds, these are not ICU patients, these are not ICU beds. And we have realized that in these states, the non-ICU beds, we have now more than 70% capacity. These are the hospitals. Again, 16 hospitals, again, there's more than 70% capacity. These are ICU beds for COVID-19. The 6 states have got more than 70% capacity already. And these 14 hospitals, ICU beds are more than 70% capacity. And some of these hospitals, as you can see, as Sarawak, for example, has not much COVID patients. So even before the start of the COVID, they're already more than 70% capacity. And so that is what is challenging, because even earlier, our capacity is not that high. Despite us increasing so much capacity in many places, there is a limit to how much we can expand so far. The other problem why this thing gets worse is we have realized now that COVID-19 we can't manage efficiently. I probably shouldn't write manpower shortage. I should probably write here woman power shortage, because
okay, Suresh, your time is up. I'll give you 1 minute extra.
Okay, majority of them actually women that manage it. Many of them require to be quarantined because of infections, and we realize that because of the PPEs, we need more staff per patient to manage them, and our death rates actually going up. And as you can see here, as of 10th of Jan, we already have 80 deaths due to COVID-19, and that's the reason why we think. And the last thing I just want to mention is who gets severe disease. As you can see here, this is based on our own data. As you can see here, if you are 71 to 80 years old, 22.58% of them will have severe disease, while 51 to 60, 8.2% of them will get severe disease. And so older you are, the more severe disease you get. The same thing is manifested in the mortality data. If you have 80 plus, 18% mortality, 60 to 69, it is 4% mortality. And so as the age goes up, the mortality rate goes up. And so how well we are going to prevent our elderlies from getting infected. And that is what is going to determine how well we are going to manage this COVID how well we're going to manage COVID without overwhelming a healthcare system. It all depends on how well we are going to protect this age group. And I think that's what is going to determine our future, as a country, we are going to do COVID. And I think a reminder to all of you, we need to flatten the curve and stay at home during this MCO period. Thank you.